Today we'll look at how to specify structural damping. We'll begin with a few slides that explain how to specify damping, then get into a demonstration that looks at how it's used in Solution 103 response dynamics, as well as Solution 108 direct frequency response and Solution 111 modal frequency response. One way we can specify damping is in the FEM. This is great if you'd like more control over what specific parts of the model get specific damping coefficients. You can specify damping in either the material property card or the physical properties. Today we'll be focusing on structural damping. If you specify viscous or structural damping in the FEM, you'll see it shown in the % physical columns in the response dynamics details view. You won't see these columns by default, but you can turn them on by right-clicking on the top of any column, then selecting columns % physical viscous and % physical hysteretic as shown on the right. If you hadn't specified damping in the FEM, you can specify it in the % viscous critical or % hysteretic columns, either by mode frequency or for all modes. We'll see how in the demonstration that follows. Be careful because there is a relationship between viscous critical and hysteretic damping as shown in the formula below. For more details, please see the documentation in the QR code below and in the link in the description. For the demonstration today, we'll be using some simple geometry to represent a mass suspended by a spring and a cantilevered beam. The geometry has material properties assigned to it that also have a damping coefficient. And here you can see that structural damping coefficient GE specified here as 6%. Next we'll create our simulation files. And we'll also create a Solution 103 response dynamic solution where we'll make sure that we turn on random and signed base excitation events. Next, we'll create a concentrated mass representation of our block. And we can do that because we have already assigned material properties that have a density associated with it. So here you can see it automatically will calculate the mass as well as the properties of inertia. Next we'll create a solid hexahedral mesh on our cantilevered beam with 2 layers of elements through the thickness. Now, when I created my simulation files, I forgot to turn on my geometry options to inherit my point. This is where we're going to be exciting both the mass and the cantilevered beam. So we'll make an RBE2 spider connection between that point and the face of our cantilevered beam. And then we'll also create a point-to-point C-bush between that point and our concentrated mass. Next we'll give the spring some physical properties by editing the collector. Here we'll give it a stiffness in the Y direction and a structural damping coefficient of 4% in the Y direction. And lastly, we'll go ahead and edit our mesh associated data to specify the orientation of those physical properties. And we'll align it with our absolute coordinate system. Alright, next we'll go to the sim where we can specify our enforced motion location. And we'll put that where we're going to be exciting our mass and our cantilevered beam, and we're going to excite it in the Y direction, DOF2. Next we'll specify fixed constraints in all other degrees of freedom at that excitation point except for the direction that we're exciting it in. And we also need to add some constraints to our mass to allow it to only move in the y direction, because that's the only direction it has any stiffness in. Next, we're ready to solve our solution 103 response dynamics. Here you can see it runs in about a second. And we can review our modal results. Here we can see our first mode at 58 Hertz is only exciting the mass on the spring, and we'll see the remaining 9 modes are only exciting the cantilevered beam. Next, we'll go to response dynamics. If you don't have it on, you can turn it on by right-clicking in the toolbar area, and we'll create a new response dynamics, and we'll call it FEM Damp. So this one will be using the damping that we specified from the FEM. Next, we'll select the normal modes and expand the response dynamics details view so we can see all of our frequencies. And we'll also turn on the columns for our physical percent damping. And here you can see for our first mode we have a damping of 4% and the remaining 9 modes at 6%, which correspond to the 4% that we assigned for structural damping to our C-bush and 6% to our material for our cantilevered beam. Now we'll create a new random base excitation event. We'll specify our output to ensure we're getting displacements. We also want a confidence level of RMS, and we want that displacement to be relative to our excitation node. Next, we'll define our excitation using the function toolkit, PSD Excitation Creation, and we'll specify the ordinate type as acceleration and the units in G's. Then we'll specify a record name and AFU, and we'll take the defaults for the values. Now we can use that PSD to define our excitation. We'll select our excitation node and then select the PSD that we just defined from our function tools, and we're ready to solve. Now before we solve, let's go ahead and specify a better name for our random base excitation event to specify that this one is using the damping that we specified in the FEM, and then we'll go ahead and solve. And that solves in less than a second, and we can review our results. So here the result that we're most interested in is our RMS displacement in the y direction. And here you can see for our mass it's at 0.137, and for the end of the cantilevered beam we can see it's 0.038. Alright, so that's how damping defined in the FEM can carry through into response dynamics. Now if we'd like to compare that to how damping defined in response dynamics in the sim would compare to that, we'll go ahead and clone our response dynamics solution, and we'll call this one Sim Damp Hysteretic, where we'll use the hysteretic damping that we can specify here in the sim instead. And here we'll do that by editing our damping factor to set the hysteretic damping to be 6%, since that's what most of the damping values are for most of the modes. And then once we've set that, we can go ahead and edit the damping factor for our first mode and make that 4% to correspond with our percent physical hysteretic damping. Now, we can't keep both. We need to zero out the physical hysteretic damping that was defined in the FEM, and we can do that by assigning a 0 scale factor. So we'll do that, and that will zero out that column. So now we're just using the percent hysteretic damping that we've defined in the sim. And we'll call that event simdamp hysteretic, and we'll go ahead and solve. Now, before we post-process this one, what we'll do is we'll also create an additional response dynamic solution by cloning our original, and this one we'll call it simdamp critical. And the same with our event. We'll call that simdamp critical as well. And now we'll edit the damping factors for our modes for our simdamp critical to use the viscous critical damping instead. Now this value has to be half of what the hysteretic damping is because of that relationship that we discussed earlier. And so we'll set our critical damping to half of 6%, which is 3% for all of our modes, and then we'll edit just that first mode to make it 2%, which is half of our 4%. And then lastly, what we'll do is we'll zero out our hysteretic physical damping by assigning a scale factor of 0. So that we don't add the two damping coefficients. All right, and then we're ready to solve. And let's go ahead and post-process all 3 sets of results so we can compare them side by side. So here's our FEM damping results in the Y for RMS displacement. And we'll go ahead and drag in our simdamp hysteretic results and our simdamp critical results for displacement in the Y direction. And you can see that all 3 are identical. All right, next we'll create a solution 111 modal frequency response analysis to see how that compares to our response dynamic solutions from our solution 103. So to do that, we'll use the simplified Nastran solutions, and if you don't have that toolbar on, you can turn it on by right-clicking in the toolbar area. And we'll select Create Simplified Random Solution, and we'll call this 111G. And here we'll select Structural and Modal. This will give us a solution 111. Then for our modal properties, we'll use the same Lanczos data that we had used earlier for our solution 103 response dynamics. Next, we'll define our excitation node, and that this is a base excitation, and it will be in the Y direction. We'll specify the PSD that we created earlier. And for the spectrum scaling options, we want to leave this as peak. Otherwise, it's going to scale that excitation, which we don't want. And then we'll go ahead and add it. Now for damping, we've already specified damping in the FEM. We really don't want to specify damping, but we can't progress in the wizard unless we do. So let's go ahead and specify damping as 0. So this will add 0 to our damping. And this way it won't affect our results. And then for our structural output requests, we'll specify just the solution 111 view so we can see displacements. And we do want displacements on. However, for our enforced motion output, we want that to be relative because that's what we had specified earlier in our solution 103 response dynamics run, that our results would be relative to our excitation node. All right, and next for our frequencies, we'll add modal frequencies. We'll add an additional 150 spectral lines. We'll also add the forcing frequencies from the PSD, and we don't need any additional frequencies to be specified. All right, so we're almost ready to run. we do have one more constraint that we need to add to the model, which is on our concentrated mass, which is only allowing that mass to move in the y direction. So we'll go ahead and drag that one into our solution 111 constraint container, and we're ready to solve. All right, this one takes about 6 seconds to run. I've paused the video. Let's go ahead and take a look at our results. So here's our solution 111G, RMS, translational in the Y. Here you can see those results are identical to our earlier results. And here, just to confirm, we can view those earlier results side by side. And confirm that they are identical. All right, next what we'll do, and I don't recommend this, is we're going to create a solution 108 direct frequency response analysis. This isn't really practical for this type of solution, but if we want, we could create one, and I'll run through the steps of how to do that. The first is identical in terms of the solution is a base excitation. We'll specify an acceleration node, and we'll use the same PSD. In the y direction, we'll add that as our excitation. We'll use the same structural damping parameters, which were 0. We'll also use the same output requests where we specified our displacements to be relative to our enforced motion location. And for our frequencies, adding the forcing frequencies from the PSD excitation is not enough by itself. So we're going to need to add additional forcing frequencies for solution 108. And we'll use a linear sweep, freq 1, where we'll specify a step value. And our starting frequency we'll set at 1 Hz, and we'll go up to 200 Hz. And I'll explain why we're going up to 200 in just a moment. And for our step value, we're going to select a half of a Hz. And this is because we need a lot of data points in order to capture the correct RMS displacement. So to look at why I selected 200 Hz, we'll go back to our response dynamics details view so we can see our percent mass in the y direction. And what you'll see is that we've captured most of the mass by 160 Hertz. So we don't really need to go much past that in order to get reasonable results for our RMS displacement in the y direction. All right, so before we solve, we'll need to get the constraint that we had specified earlier on our concentrated mass and drag that into our solution 108 direct frequency response analysis, and then we can solve. And here I'll pause the video because this one does take a bit longer to run. Here you can see total elapsed time is 22 seconds because it has to go through all of those frequencies that we had defined in our freq 1 card. And then we can take a look at our results. So here we'll look at our RMS translation in the y direction, and then we can compare that side by side with our solution 111. RMS displacement results in the y direction, and lastly with our solution 103 response dynamics result for RMS displacement in the y direction, and we can see that all three results are identical. And that is how to specify structural damping.